Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? Happy 2020 to everybody out there. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Medianoche podcast. I know that it's been a little minute, man. I've been busy, bro. Y'all know I make music too, man. I'm out here, just checking off this pending to-do list that seems to never end. But the episode that I have today is with a gentleman that's been involved in the Miami hip-hop scene for as long as I can remember being involved in it. So I'm really excited to have you here today, man. I have Semp Rok here. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
It's
Thanks
good
for
to
having
see you,
me.
bro.
Same
For
here,
sure.
same here, man.
Word up, man. How's the new year been treating you?
So far, so good, man. I've been just trying to change pace. Like, everybody always wants to do this new year, new me. Now I think people are catching up to it, right? Like, it's not a new year, new me, but shit, if that's what it takes for you to reset and refocus your thoughts, fucking do it, you know?
Yeah, it's a nice round number.
Yeah.
Day one.
Yeah, it's like the start of a month, you know what I mean? You can change a habit, whatever it's going to take for you to change a bad habit or introduce a good new one. Fuck it.
And man, like this whole thing with this new year, like especially to try to drop a bad habit, they're like, man, it's December 29th. Oh yeah, let's go to Denny's, bro. I'm gonna pig out for a couple more days. It's really hard to, And then on the first, I'll stop going over when people invite me to eat.
Yeah, no, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Because you just giving yourself extra work to get started again.
It's true, man. It's kind of like trying to like break up with someone that's like toxic or something. Eventually you just have to realize like all you have is now, even if it hasn't been a new year yet. But it is kind of cool to, start the new decade with these like cold turkey, habits that people have been holding on to. It's really tough to let go of some of these things, man,
It is. But once you do, I think once you have the mindset to let it go, it becomes easy and you start applying that to the next thing, whatever the case may be.
I agree, man. Like for example, mind you, I want to talk to you about quite a few things, but like one of the things that I've been trying to let go for some time now is like, man, I love food,
I'm with you.
and Miami has so much good food that, it's really been challenging to stick to, eating less and working out more. And I have 2 jobs, so it's like I have not much downtime to give myself to be running some laps or whatever. But I've actually been doing good, bro. It's been a pretty consistent new year for me personally. I don't know. I know that people like to do it in late December, but I am a fan of the new year resolution assignment that you give yourself,
Yeah.
But so hopefully that works out, bro.
No, but see, that's the thing, though. You don't just see it as just that. Just make it work. That's it.
Word.
You make it work, and it's like, whatever. Make it easy for you. Don't give yourself this extreme challenge because then you're not going to do it. Like, I know myself. Just real quick on this one, like, part of it is like people, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to do this stuff. Man, the reality is if I go hard the first day, I'm going to be sore. It's going to take me a couple of days to want to get back, and I'm going to get lazy about it. So when I started gaining weight, I was like, let me watch how I eat. Let me eat the right things. Let me listen to my body. If I'm getting heartburn after a certain time of eating, like, you got to pay attention. Like, that's really what's been bothering me the most. I have stomach issues. It's because I'm getting this heartburn because I'm eating at 9 o'clock at night and I'm going to lay to bed just a couple hours later. I know, like, shit, on the way here, I was eating my salad before I even get home. Because if I even eat, like, later on, that's it. It's not going to work out for me. So you just try to figure it out, man.
Yeah, and I bet, like, when you gave me a call a couple minutes ago, yo, I'm by Mary's Cafe. You're just looking at all those pastelitos and croquetas and...
I know not to eat after a certain time, though, man.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Well, I wanted to kind of get to these series of things that I wanted to pick your brain at, bro, because believe it or not, man, like for all these years that I've been, obviously involved in hip hop and living in South Florida, despite all my travels and stuff, I've always known you to be involved. You're actually wearing the hat,
Yeah.
public wizard,
Yeah.
So for those that are unfamiliar with Semp Rok, like I know that you've been involved with more of like the marketing side of things that not that many people are too familiar with. You hear the word marketing, and it's like one of those things that I'll look into it, but then you just get inspired and write another song, or you get more like creatives just kind of never cross that bridge. I'll cross that bridge when I get there, but seems to never get here.
Yeah.
But marketing is a never-ending side of of one's brand.
Yeah.
You
It's always evolving.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm a late starter when it comes to that. I've been focused on the making music side of things, or like the sharpening of my craft, that I was super late to the party when it came to like the marketing side or the branding side of things, whether it came to, bro, like how the logo looks or public relations or whatever, or like a tour poster I'm trying to put together with hollering at venues or whatever. I was always rough around the edges trying to comprehend that side, and who are some artists that you represented over the years?
So, man, my main focus has always been to work with artists that didn't have representation. So it all started with like local cats. They were my guinea pigs, but I was also their workhorse. Everyone from Omniscient to Mayday, before they had the shine that they've earned to this day. And working my way within the underground circuit. So Immortal Technique, before he was anything big, I was his publicist for nearly 15 years. And then I was blessed over time being able to introduce. I was Guru's publicist for some time. DJs as well, DJ GQ. So yeah, it's been a variety of artists, mainly with the underground hip hop circuit, and the local Miami hip hop circuit.
So I've worked with a couple of publicists over the years, right? This is the thing. I'm just going to get right to the nitty gritty, right?
Do it.
This is the thing about hiring a publicist as an independent artist, right? Publicists tell you, a lot of them are, I'm not saying you.
No.
Obviously,
Go ahead. There's nothing.
Clearly, now, this is why I'm so happy.
I do not get offended. Say what it is.
Trust me, like the reason why I'm so happy that you came through today is because you are like one of the few legit publicists that I actually know, and just because you're based out of Miami, it makes it even more like, it makes it even better that you are a legit publicist, because I've worked with publicists, man, that are like scam artists, that they'll take your money and they'll get you on these sites that they have this alias that they hollered at, and then they'll write this write-up that they think that, oh, yeah, I got you on this site. Oh, word? Yeah, he was cool about it. He's the same guy that he hollered at,
So funny.
And, like, you're paying this guy money that either you work a second job for or you're slanging some things for.
Yeah.
And then they'll just take your money. They'll blow smoke up you, and nothing happens. No traffic, and they patronize you. And, like, artists lose hope in their craft, and and like just themselves, bro, because they feel like they're funding money into something, and they're like beating a dead horse that is their music, just because they made the wrong decision of having a publicist that doesn't have their best interests in mind. So hearing that you've worked with the Omniscients and the Maydays, and you said Immortal Technique and Guru and DJ GQ, right, is like, I would like to hear you expand on, like, bro, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, you're a legit publicist, and you have these scam artists out here that are taking advantage of artists that are still, like, ignorant to that world, and then they're not sure what to look for. What are some red flags,
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you need to educate yourself. You're putting your money down. You still need to educate yourself that you're putting the right money. I know the value when it comes down to I know my budgets. Let's put it like this. I know my budgets of what I need. And sometimes I've been way too expensive for certain artists, but I understand that whatever money they're bringing to the table, whether it be a couple $100, means a shit ton, right? So it's being honorable and saying, for that money, I'm not going to be able to give. It's not that you don't have enough. It's just it's not going to be worth it for you, right? And letting you know, come with the game plan. This is what you need to do it right, so that you can see the right results. But people are just trying to get those $100 scams, right? $100 scams, $1,000 scams, whatever the case may be. And while I don't agree with it, I go back to the artist, like, educate yourself on it, right? Have clear understanding of what your goals are, what you want to see, and what's capable. Now, if they blatantly lied, they said X, Y, and Z, and they blatantly lied, there's no way around it. But references always help, man. Like, someone's going to tell you what they didn't like, so you try to check it. Asking a lot of questions has always helped me, even on the client side. Because I've had people that, they don't want to pay. And that's not fun. Because it's a whole different world, right? So, like, fuck Solar, but that's that.
That's funny.
So, having the right questions. For me, like, look, the way that I got started was I started off by passing out a flyer. I've learned what worked over time. I used my friends, not used them, but we worked together. Streetlight Poets, which was J Pure, Jigs, Filthy Rich, Gold. Who am I missing? Wasi. Like, they were my first project. I was in the college radio circuit. I knew the other DJs in the college radio circuit nationally, so started getting all their emails, all their mailing addresses. Let's ship some records. They invested in the product. I invested in my time, and then that's what helped me get results. I learned, well, these records, because it was too street for the college scene, right? It didn't work. But then I started working with the Dynasses. I started working with the Omniscients, so on and so forth. And Counterflow Records, I mean, they were just banging out dope records at the time. That's the stuff that really worked. Dave Ghetto's the 7 Stars. Dave Ghetto is someone that I worked with back in the days, and now he's my partner in crime right now. That's the history that helps you understand he's gone through the grit. He knows what he's doing. There's a rapport there. So that's why I tell artists, do your research, ask the right questions. You know what I mean? Like, if the guy just came out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like, don't expect as much. You might not know, but then do a test. Yeah. Don't invest all your dollars.
Because what happened with the first publicist that I ever hired was recommended to me by a gentleman that was managing me for some time, right? Okay. So it's kind of like one of those, I trust the manager's trying his best, but no one's perfect, you know? Yeah. Like, if for example, if I'm rocking with somebody and they recommend someone that they kind of co-sign because of their, bro, like, your high beams only show you so far, you know? Of course. So it's like, oh, yeah, hey, bro, this guy seems legit. You know, I talked with him for some time. You might want to consider hiring him, was told to me. And I look at him like, okay, well, shit, bro, I trust this guy. You know, like, let me look into what's going on with you. I'm not afraid of putting my money up, which I never was, you know? And it seems to always be, like, people that are popular, you know? Hey, this is my friend such and such. And then you kind of pull your phone out and pull the gram out and be like, oh, your friend is popular as well. Okay, so you're in some crowd, you know? You're thinking in your head, you know? Yeah. But it's true, man. Like my mistake during that time was kind of an impulse cosign, you know? Yeah. Instead of like being like, all right, sure, cool, man, I'll holler at you, and then going back and doing some research or whatever. But like, actually, that's actually a good thing that you did with you guys kind of solidified this quality with Public Wizard, correct? Because Public Wizard is like a marketing firm. Yeah, it's a marketing company that I started back in 2000. I remember Public Wizard from the 305.com forum. Okay. You know? Yeah, because that was my handle. Yeah, because that was your handle. It was the same logo, too. It was like the wizard for the logo. Yeah. And shout out to Scam who did it. Scam 2? Yes, sir. Yeah, Scam 2, man. Oh, he's another one. Shit, I didn't mention Scam. See, the Scam is my brother, though, so sometimes I can't see him as an artist, but he's a beast. I mean, yeah, of course, man. He's Scam 2. You know? It's funny, man, because like when you think about Miami hip-hop, it's always been connected. Like, the local scene has people that have been blessed to work with some legends that, you know, on some level, even up to the Eminems, you know.
Yep.
But, you know, I'll see Scam too at some local event kicking it with EFN or something, and you wouldn't think it, you know.
Yeah.
I remember like some years ago, I was man, like when I was still throwing shows, I had been put on to the fact that Scam 2 lived down here, and man, I reached out to him just cold turkey, like just out of nowhere, like, yo, what's up, man? You know, my name's Art Morera. I'm an artist, but I'm booking a show. Would you be down to perform? And you know, he was like, for sure, you know. And
Yeah.
he came through. And the first thing that pops up, like, out of the speakers when I introduce Scam, you know, you give the CD to the sound guy, and then, all right, I'll let you know when you go on stage. And then I go up and I introduce him, and the first thing that comes out of the speakers is this, like, drop that Eminem gave him.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And I'm like, damn, this is, like, fucking really Scam too, you know? So, damn, Miami has, like, low-key always been involved in classic hip-hop.
Was there?
Even though we might not assume so at these local events, you know, which is actually pretty gratifying knowing that, like, bro, we all have the potential capability of doing some classic shit.
Yeah.
You know, even though we go to these little local shows at like the Catalysts or the Churchills or whatever, you know, like we out here, bro, you know. But not everyone has a publicist.
Yeah, yeah,
know?
but look, man. Look, the reality is, a lot of the stuff that I did early on was just like a work in progress to the point where I felt solidified, right? However, I remember back in like 2008, 2009, I was telling people, keep your money. You don't need a publicist. Because this is reality. People are like, I need a publicist. And I'm going to tell you where this backfires, right? So I've had artists. I've gotten them the placements. I got them the press. I got them. And when I did publicity, I was doing things in print. This is before like the digital shit. Like digital was starting off, but I was getting people in magazines. Like that's what I considered a publicist. People that get you in print. And then the digital came on, so on and so forth. But I would get them the placements. I'll get you on the double XLs, so on and so forth. I mean, I'll pull strings when it was records that maybe they weren't feeling just because I had relationships. Because I had a multitude of records. Like it just wasn't that one record, and that's what kind of helps. That's where that person cleaned. It doesn't have to be a publicist, but someone that could leverage all their clientele, so they could bring a new artist that the publishing company knows is not going to drive traffic, but they're going to look out for you. Now, that's the thing. If it doesn't get traffic, they're not going to want to republish you more unless there's like some sort of tie, right? Some sort of fandom. But the reality is they're businesses. They're not your homies.
Yeah, for sure. Like that page is real estate, you know, that they can give to someone more traffic worthy than whatever artist.
They get paid by ads. You know what I mean? So then the other piece is, well, how are we going to get the traffic now?
It's like a chicken or the egg thing, you know? Yeah, I agree.
But that's where the artist needs to promote. So they need to have some sort of level of marketing, some sort of level of presence, or you pay for it, right? There's advertising. So that's the part I was getting into with artists, and it got to the point like I don't want your money anymore because you're not going to be happy. I'm not going to feel satisfied that I did something good for you. Focus on getting your social up. Focus on getting that presence, and part of it is just giving good content, right? Now you want to amplify it. There's ads. And there was things early on that we did to grow channels, like through emails. I did heavy, extensive email marketing. That's what really helped out because without the emails, I couldn't reach the publications or the DJs. I had those two things in pocket, the DJs and the publications. So as I was getting the things in publications, the DJs were rocking it. So it was just like in tandem. That's what we were able to make some noise. But yeah, man, I get you the placements, but at the end of the day, what good is it going to do if you can't get the traffic there? So that's the other part that the artist needs to understand.
Yeah, and that's true, man, because I've had these conversations with some fellow artists of mine where it's the same thing. You know, they feel like they're not sure what's the next step for them to invest their money in that'll help propel their career to the next level. Oh, I'm gonna hire a publicist, you know. And I remember one of my peers, a really close peer of mine, hired a publicist for. I mean, I don't know how much this is to you, but to me, this is a good amount of money. It was $500 a week for a publicist, you know?
Yeah, I charge minimum $2,000 a month.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, so you charge $2,000 a month, so that makes sense, you know?
Right.
So it's like $500 a week, And I remember, man, this dude was doing some things to come up with that money, you know? And bro, he got him on some like radio stations for interviews in like Milwaukee and this and that, and it feels good, but it's like what fleshes out from that, you know? Because someone in Milwaukee is gonna hear this radio host talking to some random guy that happens to be my homie, you know?
Yeah.
And to him, it's a morale raiser. Oh man, I was on the radio in Milwaukee because this publicist that I hired, things are working.
But is it making money?
But it's like, yeah, like it's not making money and it's not driving him new followers on Instagram or whatever. So I remember being like, you know, man, like there's probably other things that you could use that 500 a week for at this time in your career to make it more of a effective way to build your audience, you know?
Yeah.
And because I feel like having like, bro, every huge artist still has their publicist, man.
Yeah.
Like the documentary that I watched of Lil Wayne, of the Carter 3 or whatever, man, he has a publicist, bro. Like, but their placements are like much, hey, bro, I need you to come through. We're doing such and such late night show. But that's that level of publicity, you know?
Yeah.
And then it trickles all the way down to, yo, bro, I got you on hip hop since 1987, bro. High five, you know?
Yeah. Well, look, every artist is a little different. So, like with Immortal Technique, I would trip out because there was another person that was introduced later on, and he was bragging how he got them on Hip Hop DX or one of these hip hop sites, and I'm like, all I have to do is put the record out. It doesn't matter who puts it out. The label just puts it out. It's gonna get those placements. So what I focused on was I'm gonna get on Al Jazeera News. You know, I'm gonna get you on these TV outlets. I'm gonna get you on Rolling Stone. Like, it was always that extra next level thing, right? I'm gonna get someone to co-sign you so that you could go to Afghanistan and build that orphanage. Like, those are the things that I try to do to step it to another level beyond. Because if it was just on the digital side, even the magazines, to an extent, they're gonna get them when they want them. You know, because he was already at that level. So a good publicist is gonna see beyond the normal, piecemeal things that they do for any other artist. Every artist is different.
Do you think publicists have like a checklist of a content checklist that you require to make your job easier to represent them?
Yeah. I mean, you have to have your things in order, right? So you have to have your lines of communication, whether it's an email list, whatever the case may be. You have that front line of what you're going to market to. Like, all right, what's the go-to for this record, right? Are you going to do a premiere? Are you not going to do a premiere? Sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, everybody's still stuck in this whole premiere stuff. And then everyone has a different approach. Do they want to lead off with like a feature record or not? For me, I hated doing the featured record only because I felt like I didn't really give that artist his shine if the only thing I give out to somebody is a record because you had it with MOP, right? No, they got that. They're listening to that record because they heard MOP on there. I need to break you as the artist, right? And that's the challenging part, but that's the part that I got off on. But we would always still have those featured records in there, but like I wouldn't take that as the full credit because it's beyond just me. It's whoever that big name that you just supplied some money for, or pulled your card to get them on, and that's where I think what the publicist is it's not just necessarily a checklist of tactical things, but like mental things of how to approach it. It's a strategy.
Okay, would you mind expanding on that a little bit for me, bro? Like, not mind you, I'm not asking you rhetorically.
No, I know.
I'm asking you because, man, I be soaking up game. What you say a tactical, like, so you guys come up with like a strategy of how to market this person's project, right?
So I told you the price, right? But that's not for a month. I wouldn't do a month project. I have to do a minimum of 3 months. So I'll look out wherever I needed to look out. But that was like my standard rate, right? And the whole thing's a game plan. All right, how many records are we putting out? It's not just to put out one little single and that's it. Because, all right, it gets buzz. Then what are you going to do next? You're going to wait you have to record another record, and then maybe another couple months after you already dropped your buzz, then we drop it again? No, man, you just lose momentum. So have a strategy. What records are we going to play? What order? As far as giving out. So are we going to seed the DJs first? Are we going to seed maybe some key industry people first, right? Are we going to have some advertisement to support it? Like, that's the things I do now, because it has to be done. Before, we were just trying to figure it out because the whole social game was starting to come along. But you have to approach it that way because you have to have that follow-up record. You have to have the follow-up support. So the publications, the interviews, all those things already in line prior to, right? So if a good publicist that already has relationships, they're going to secure those. So when the record drops, the interviews drop, so on and so forth. And then now,
the rollout. Yeah.
and then now people are seeing you more often. They didn't see you one off because it's easy to forget someone in that feed, right? You see them one time here and there, but if in 1 week you're just seeing them in multiple placements, multiple different kinds of content, you're thinking these guys are making noise. And you may not even be feeling the content, but it's fucking with your head.
Yeah, it's like, man, I've seen this person every website I go to. You know, he's on Sway in the morning, this and this and that. Like, who is this person?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and even advertisements, man. There's the remarketing. People forget about remarketing. I think now more people are in tune to it, but you see advertisements of places you've been to, and then now they're following you, whether it's your phone or whatever the case may be. They just think you're everywhere. Really, you're just following that cookie. But to the user that saw you now, they can't forget you because you're hitting them up with ads.
Hold on. You said that that's just that cookie. Like, so when I go to a website and a little window pops up that says, "Oh, like, do you accept the cookies of this website or whatever?" What I'm really accepting is them having my information that I visited them, so they can kind of like,
Yeah.
damn.
And they could get down to the level of the page that you saw, and if there's a special list, anybody who saw this artist, and there's an advertising program, make sure remarket them wherever they go across the web, because everybody's interconnected.
So like algorithms are created from people accepting cookies, and they kind of like pick up on behaviors and like, oh, this person that listens to this person's music also listens to all these other guys' music and visit these websites and clicked on this article, and damn, someone actually has access to all that, and they can kind of like create they can narrow down on one's behaviors and to know how to approach and sell you a product.
Yeah, just the only thing legally, I can't know you exactly who you are. I can't get down to your personal information, your email, so on and so forth. But I have that cookie, and I can market you. I could do cross device, cross environment, and what that means is basically you're logged into Gmail on a computer at work. You're also logged into a Gmail here at home. I could follow you that way and serve you those ads. Oh, you're logged into your phone as well? I'm gonna follow you there too. You're on a tablet?
You're gonna buy this album, bro.
Yeah. So I'll know where it's at. Oh, this is and by association, there's ways of doing it. Oh, this is your Spotify account. So
Yeah, because let me tell you, man, like my perception of what this content checklist that an artist needs to give to a publicist prior to the release of a project is like, you need your 3 singles, you need your music videos, you need your photo shoot, you need your website ad banners of these dimensions, and the Photoshop session to be able to adjust the size of the banner,
Oh, you say so? You're asking the checklist for an artist to give to a publicist?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying the checklist as a publicist. We have to have a checklist. So that's what I was talking about earlier.
It goes both ways,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would have that basic strategy, and sometimes we'll develop things as we go because there's something unique to that artist, right? Like what makes them stand out. Like because I would have people that would like album covers. So I was always big on it, but not everybody has a budget. Oh, I need to make an album cover now. It's gonna cost me $50, and that adds on to what I wasn't planning on. But like all those things help out, right? Because even down to the tracks, I would get to the point that I would tag them out as a DJ and put the BPMs in there. So when I service it to the DJ, it's all pretty for them, man. It's labeled correctly. It has the right information because I'm a DJ myself. So how do I want those records? You know what I mean? Granted, I could go ahead and further modify it to my benefit, but I was just still thinking in that DJ mindset.
So like you will put like the key and tempo and the BPM
Everything. Make sure the comments had if the artist had a website, who it was by, so on and so forth. I mean, it just takes that little extra time to make it clean, and you're giving a solid package. A true DJ pack, in essence.
Yeah, because I remember, man, when especially for my last few projects, like whenever I gear up to release it, like I would mind you, these are just notes that I keep to myself, hoping that I could, I open up a new file and I start to create these notes of like the mood of the record, the subject matter, like what are some not necessarily hashtags, but like if I were to be able to create some hashtags for this song, like what would be an effective one, you know? Like I have this one song that I just put out a couple days ago that on the surface it's just a song about me and my dog, you know? But it gets a little deeper than that. So I start to kind of like formulate like kind of like a synopsis of what the song is about.
Okay.
And if I were to make an ad on YouTube, which I did, you know,
Okay.
like it'll make it a bit more specific on, you know, what tags I can put on this song so that people looking up a similar thing could probably discover my song. And it's actually been working, you know. I've been getting new subscribers just based off of this ad. And it's not like crazy views or nothing because my budget is limited.
No,
but
that's
anything helps, you know.
So where the content comes into play is SEO. So that's another part of the marketing.
Search engine optimization. Yeah.
Yes. So that you writing that edition, writers, all you writers out there, you guys get lazy at actually writing things for the web. You're masters at writing for your rhyme. What you just said is amazing because that's what you need to do in order to rank, in order to be found, right? You need to have that copy inside that YouTube description ad. Like, be descriptive, right? Don't just say, new video that dropped, produced by whatever. If you start putting some of the subject matter, you add in the lyrics, even though there's also the annotations you can put in there. All that stuff helps for you to be found when someone's doing a search. Because if you're talking about a specific content, you know, like maybe it's something about cancer, like a cancer victim and leukemia, whatever it is, but the song's titled I Love You, you know, I miss you. They're not seeing it. Maybe someone's going to benefit from that too, right? But they wouldn't come across it if you didn't have all that content written in there that's going to be optimized for search engines.
Yeah, I think that artists they don't go out of their way to do those extra steps. Maybe because, man, they just bro, you know, I'm underground, bro. Hey, bro, figure it out.
You're going to stay underground then, if that's what it is, right?
They want to keep that obscurity about it, you know? Like, the song's named I Love You, man. Oh, what's it about? Well, I mean, shit, it might mean something different for you than it means for that guy, you know? That's what's so
But
crazy
then write
about
that. Then write that. You know what I mean? Don't leave the content empty, you know?
Yeah. Like, like one thing that I do for, like, my music, because mind you, man, like, if I don't have representation, man, over the years, I had to educate myself on things that I could do. Mind you, I don't do everything because I just, bro, it's a lot. It really is, like, things that a legit publicist like yourself does is, like, that's probably why there's so many scam artists out there, because they know that it's a lot and they kind of, like, try to, like, keep this smoke and mirrors thing going on with their clients to make it seem like, bro, I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, really, they're just taking your money and just writing some copy and paste articles, you know?
Yeah.
But, man, I would go, like...
That's sad.
It is, bro. It's super sad, man. But, you know, like, thankfully, you know, we live and we learn. And the main thing is to take that L and, bro, just hustle up some more money and, you know, do some research. Like
Move forward. You have to move forward. You can't live in that. It's a learning curve. That's it.
For sure, man. You know,
not every L is a loss. It's a learning, man.
Bars.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I stole that from somebody, I'm sure.
But it's true, bro. Like, not every L is a loss. A lot of it is learning, you know? Yeah. But, like, for example, I would go on genius.com and people think I'll post a post on my Instagram of a lyric post, right?
Okay.
They don't know that artists can do that themselves. You don't need to know somebody at Genius. You know, you can go on genius.com on your desktop, not on your phone, but on your laptop, and you can create an account like you're like a member of the forum. And, bro, you can add a song, and then you start to just fill out all the fields. You paste the lyrics, and now all of a sudden your song is there with the artwork. And then you download the app, the Genius app, and you look your song up on that app, and you can share the lyrics when you can pick up picture, and it creates this, like, lyric post, you know?
Yeah.
And artists that I know or that know me have reached out to me like, man, how'd you get yourself on Genius? And it's like, bro, you can do it yourself, bro, you know? But I didn't always know that. And at one point in time, I was on the other side too. Like, man, this dude got his stuff on Genius. That's ill. And I would, like, holler. I've always been kind of good at looking up people that work on certain platforms and then
shout out to Rob.
Yeah, word up. Shout out to Rob Markman, you know? Like, but I've always been good at, like, finding staff and then, like, finding their IG and just reaching out to them and be like, yo, you know, this is who I am. If there's anything that, you know, whatever, I'll just build with them, you know?
Yeah.
But
No, that's good you say that, man. Actually, that was one of the things as well, like back in the days, because it was like AZ lyrics and a bunch of those. So I would ask if the artist had the lyrics. I was like, give me the lyrics, and I'll do my best, and I'll give you a list of all the sites for you to do the submission as well. Because the more, going back to SEO, right? Like the more that you could be found, it just helps out, man. And it's content. It's not even like new content. It's hopefully you would write all your lyrics at some point. Like that's how I grew up listening to hip hop. The lyric sheets, man. You don't see too much of those these days. But then again, I also don't buy a lot of cassette tapes that have the role of
the
lyric sheets,
the
yeah.
fold out pamphlet.
Yeah. But like lyrics is the shit, you know. So yeah, man. You just also got to think of the mindset of someone else. So for me, as I was getting older, I forgot of the things that I used to do, and I'll lean on these young kids. Like, how do they move? What do they look at? You know what I mean? How do they research? Genius is a big thing. So if they're using that, shit, that was good that you did that. People don't take advantage. Some people do. But with Instagram and itself and the stories, you have the Spotify adding music. I'm constantly putting my catalog. Some people think it's weird. Like I try to make it association. Whatever I post a story, I'll put in an artist that's on my catalog to play for visibility. You know what I mean? Like, and that'll transcend into some sales because anybody else that likes it, they're going to click on it. They're going to listen to the rest of the record. And they got a stream.
Do you think an artist should post Spotify? I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Spotify has a feature where you could add the song to your story, and it kind of creates this quick little 9x16 post of the art, the artwork, and the little song is playing or whatever. No, I don't think the song is playing. It just has like the little upper left hand corner where you can tap on play on Spotify.
No, you could have the song play. So you could do the story. So I'll put a picture with my kids or a video that I have of my kids, and I could add in the music, and it's playing as a background. So it override whatever the video is or the image
The
audio.
audio.
Audios. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just overrides the audio and just plays.
Do you think that artists should be doing that like every single day?
Nah, do it where it's meaningful, right? Because otherwise it's just annoying. It's just like a
It's
shameless
like
promoter,
spammy.
right?
It becomes spammy, right? Yeah.
So I do it as background music. So I'm like, all right, I'm do it like I'm trying to be an artist myself with it, right? Like this makes sense, you know. And it's not always my own art catalog, but wherever I can, I'll drop it.
Yeah, like because you know how I plug in my music when I'm marketing a new song or a project. Like, and mind you, I did this because I had to. No one else was doing it for me, you know. Like, bro, I would open up my laptop and I'll just create like 15 1-minute videos. You know, I have my camera, and I'll try to add a little production value to it to not make it look cheesy or whatever. But I'll do 15 little 1-minute videos that have the aesthetic of the song.
Okay.
Some videos might have a different little look to it because it fits the specific song more. That's another thing too, man. Like, there's these artists, bro. I'll be going down these rabbit holes, bro. like there are these artists that their graphic design, like their look, looks like it could be hung up in a gallery somewhere that fits the aesthetic of the record, you know. But it wasn't the same look for the previous album, you know. Like Kanye West, every time he drops a new album, there's a whole different like look to it. But then you have other artists like. A good example is, do you know who the Suicide Boys are?
No.
Oh man, okay.
Good.
Word. I mean, mind you, bro, I'm a boom bap hip hop head, but these guys, these new artists that they're making really interesting music.
Okay.
That you might not even agree with the subject matter, but just their whole texture it's really impressive to see how they have like how they've made the visual side of their audio compatible, you know?
Dope.
These guys are from New Orleans, and I like their music a lot. It's kind of like metal and hip hop,
Okay.
but like 3-6 hip hop, you know. And they're from New Orleans, but
Okay.
like their look looks like a Thrasher magazine that worships Satan, you know. And it's like real edgy in that way, skeletons and like cheesy fire, crudely cut out fire.
Okay,
like,
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like this texture to it, you know. But it works, you know. And then you have other guys that, bro, like artists don't consider that, you know. I have homies that they think just a one photo shoot should suffice, but you don't know, man, that there's a color palette that you might want to tweak because it fits the feel of the song more, you know. That if I give you a song and I give you like a simple photo shoot, and I don't maybe take these couple steps ahead, it might not like there might be more of a contrast than a cohesiveness between all these files that I give a publicist or that I just put up myself, where like it just doesn't it's not packaged that well, you know. So is this something that like a publicist, you might just straight flat out tell me, nah, bro, you're overthinking it?
No.
But-
I mean, look, I some of it just becomes a matter of opinion, right? As long as it doesn't look like you shot it with your, I don't know, your brick camera that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like where just the aesthetic is not there. It has that some sort of aesthetic, right? So it doesn't look like you put some time and effort into it. Because at the end of the day, though, you got cats like Thurston. Shit, Thurston's another one that I've been working with for years. Shout out to Thurston.
Yeah, shout out to Thurston Howe. I'll be seeing him out in Wynwood, bro. He'd be like prowling, bro. Like, yeah. Shout out to Thurston Howe, man. To me, he's like an underground legend.
All right. But look, his product. I mean, look, nothing fancy. Maybe some of the last ones they had more graphic design, but his initial products that got him out, nothing fancy. The one key for him though is I always need to have my face on my albums, because how are people going to remember me, right? Like that's kind of like the marketing part of it, you know. And then you got someone like a Scam, you never see his, like now he's been showing himself more, but you never would see something from him. But that also came to the illusion things, you know, like who is this guy? You know, people thought he was Fred Durst for a little while. So
yeah,
like legit on the forums.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So man, I'll be honest with you, it's a matter of opinion. It's how you market yourself. You should have something decent, at least something ready to go, you know.
One bad habit that I noticed that a lot of artists that I you know, my peers, bro, these are, bro, we know us up and coming artists that, especially if we don't have a lot of know-how, where someone like a publicist or like a manager or even a booking agent or whatever might be hitting you with a different angle that you didn't even consider. Us like unrepresented artists, bro, like we have this bad habit of referring to already established legends to try to emulate what they're currently doing or what they did in their day to apply to what you're trying to do now.
Exactly.
You know, they'll be like, man, but Eminem did this and Eminem did that. And J. Cole did this and that. And I'm just looking at him like, bro, the game is different. And you're not that guy. You need to, if anything, look up an artist just a little bit ahead of you in career that's like more reachable than someone that's a fucking god, bro.
Yeah.
Like to try to emulate what Eminem once did in the early 2000s is not only is it far-fetched, it's borderline delusional. You know, it's like the game is different, and you're doing yourself a disservice of trying to walk in the same footsteps of someone that their method might not apply to you. You know, like because you know what it is that they want to see themselves in an alternate universe spitting those legendary Sway freestyles, you know? They want that to be them. So they're like, oh, maybe if I just kind of like, no, bro, like you need to walk your own path, but know know the path that you're walking by studying the landscape.
Exactly.
Like today, you know? And that's why I try to tell people, bro, look, like for example, the Genius, the lyrics thing. I'm like, look, you can do that. That's something that's within your reach, so don't neglect doing that, you know. Maybe invest in the cameras and learn how to take a photo. Like every camera has Wi-Fi. You can download the app and be your own photo shoot, your own photographer. You don't need to spend an arm and a leg on these guys that want to do an artsy shoot for you, you know.
They have an iPhone, that's it, you're done. Or the new
You think
Androids.
so? Yeah. You think that an iPhone like is, you don't think that like a smartphone look makes it seem a little, you don't think so?
You're gonna edit it. I mean, you're gonna edit it?
I don't know. This is a good topic because you
know what I mean? Like there's things that my wife takes. And I'm like, yo, it's a dope ass picture. And you know, I just bought the new camera, but I like the picture she took on her new iPhone. Fuck it, that's the one we'll post.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
you know, like especially for people that get into like photography gear, because it's crazy expensive. You know, like before you know, you're spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on lenses and this and that. When like your girl just pulls out her smartphone and takes a cool selfie, you're like, damn, you know what? That's clean. I can't front. You know,
it's composition. If you think about it, it's all composition at the end of the day. And then these phones they have depth if that's what you wanted. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, word. So like I get what you're saying as far as like, you know, you could work with what you have as long as you know what you're doing. You know.
Listen, yeah, it comes down to for the artist, because I've gone down that road and I've made those mistakes with artists. One example, Recognized. I managed Recognized for a short period of time, and I remember us having a conversation. That's my boy, and he started growing out the scruff, and I was clowning with him, right? I was like, dude, just, you know, that was the era where the fucking chin straps was the shit, right? Like the Chico's chin straps, and I was like, just clean that shit up, man, you know. And like he kind of felt like a certain kind of when I told him, and really look at him now. He fucking rocks his beard, and he's golden. It fits the crowd. Like, let the artist be the artist. But like that, it's them, right? Like they live it. They're not faking it at the end of the day, because then they can live fulfilled, right? Like they don't have to worry about keeping an image that's not them, you know. And that's gonna transcend into the music that they do. They're gonna feel comfortable. And they're gonna make some dope shit that's them, because there's a market for everyone out there.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Like, I've noticed that when artists first jump onto the scene, they try to stay nice and clean cut and all this, but then they get to a point where they like just don't care anymore to have this high maintenance look, and that resonates more with their audience. They're like, man, you know, like ever since you stopped caring, I tend to care more about what you got going on. You know, it's like it's funny how that works. You know, it's like instead of trying to prop yourself up to be this like too cool for school, like clean cut dude, like once you start kind of like not wearing the crazy name brand shirts, you just wear like a plain white tee, somehow, some way that like just tends to give you a more universal, more appealing look. It's crazy how that is, you know. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another thing that I wanted to ask you, man, Semp, like, because you work in radio, you as well, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, I still do radio show now.
What is this radio show that you do?
92.7. Pretty much, I brought back the show that I did in my college years, so like early 2000s, the Late Night Barbecue, which is pretty much just underground hip hop, like boom bap all the way. I rock. I also got Classic. Well, Classic does his own show just after. But I used to have him come on my show to rock because he's been blessing it for years. So shout out to Classic as well. So
forgive me because man, you know, I be in my own little bubble, you know.
Yeah.
But I know because I follow you on the gram, and you do post like this classic underground hip hop, you know. Yeah. But 92.7, and this is what night of the week?
Oh, sorry, Friday nights, 2 a.m. slot. It's a late night slot, but it's strategic in the sense, like, first of all, don't give me shit. I'm the only one that really gets to play the shit that I play, and Cloud Classic as well, because I was laughing because I went to the industry night the other day, and I was like, the most commercial shit I'll play is A Tribe Called Quest. Like, that's the level, like, where normally, like, that's more the underground of what they will play there. Then you still have, like, the TIs and stuff like that. I mean, their programming is awesome, man. Shout out to Draz, who I used to do a radio show with at FIU back in the days. He's the one that brought me on to 92.7. Drastic X.
Oh,
Drastic X.
Word,
Drastic X.
Yeah.
Me being lazy on saying people's names.
Yeah,
and LS, DJ LS. But, like, they gave me the opportunity to start doing the shows, but I didn't feel comfortable because that's not me. Like, for every, you know, Talib, I got to play a Juvenile. Not that they tell me that to do, but, I mean, the reality is, like, for that station, like, in Miami, you have to do something, right? But it wasn't me, and then I proposed the situation to bring it back to Late Night Barbecue, and what I was going to play with no remorse, like, and they were cool with it, and they've let me do it. So I'll spin everything from, like, some classic 90s that you've never heard, like dude named Residue, to the things you would know, like the Bucktowns, and then some Immortal Techniques and Ill Bill. So, and then, of course, like the local cats out here, because I have a lot of these records that people haven't heard in a while. You know, it's not that people don't have it, but, you know.
Do you have do you feel that Miami and its like dance scene, like Miami's a vacation city, so people are here, they want to hear party music, and they do want to hear the Juveniles and all that, but like the inner city, like we stay, like, you know, actually super submerged in like that underground music, you know. Yeah. That like, for example, like I remember when I was getting into the local hip hop scene. This is all gonna go back to the radio station. I'm arriving at a point, you know. But like I remember like that song by what's Mad Lib, Quasimodo.
Yeah.
Come on legs, come on run, and you hear the little foot taps. not even on beat, just
Yeah.
and like, man, I remember being like, this is the most uncompromised backpack shit I've ever heard, and I fucking love it, you know.
Right.
But like, I found that on a VHS of a skate video, you know, and that's how I was put onto it, you know. So I would love to hear that. Yeah, I'm saying, wait, this was back then when like Parable had all the battle tapes, and like VHS were being passed around of like local battles and little skate videos like of just some homie in Hialeah that he skates, and that's the music that he chose, you know.
Right.
So it's like your radio show plays music that's like as underground as that.
Yeah.
Damn, that's
Oh yeah,
fire.
all day. The only thing is I try to stick to format. So there's certain things that I would like to, but I don't do. So like classic soul samples, like the samples that made those hip hop records of like the early '90s. I just stick straight to hip hop because, you know, the reality is it's still the station. I got to keep things moving. But yeah, I'll play whatever, man. Madlib's dope. I play Madlib all the time.
That's
Loop
dope,
Pack.
man. Do you ever have like any MCs go on there and
Nah,
vibe with you?
Nah, so I pretty much do my things in advance, and I send them over to the station because the reality is I got 2 kids, man, so I ain't at 2 o'clock in the morning.
No,
live.
I got you.
Yeah, so it's just straight mixes, just straight songs, and I don't play nothing beyond 2010
Nothing
Because-
beyond 2010. Okay.
because that's the station policy. If you listen to it, it's all classic hip hop.
Damn, I was gonna give you my most recent tape too, man.
You can
So-
still give it to me. I'm actually trying to figure out a format of new stuff because I come across so much dope music, but also got to make sure I make the time to be consistent in putting out those records.
Oh, you know what? That's actually a pretty good time to give a quick shout out to like all the other homies, man. Since my last podcast, there have been some newer shows that, like, for example, my man Orion has a What They Do
Oh, word.
radio,
Yeah.
you know, and he's doing a great job, man. He'll do like a playlist of songs that he batches together, and he strings them by some type of theme. It's dope, man. He's doing a great job at that, you know. Orion, same thing with Shadi with the Human Sushi podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually, man, I'm happy to see that the Miami hip hop scene really the big thanks has to go to EFN
Oh, of course.
because EFN with Drink Champs, like, you know, I used to film for Drink Champs. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this, right? Like for like I want to say about a year or so, I was involved with EFN, kind of like let me film for them just so I can be in the room for this classic hip hop moments using my video gear. And when I saw how they were doing it, because Hazardous Sounds will come through with the preamp, like the mobile preamp, and they'll like put it on the table and connect all the mics, and there was this big like luggage on wheels that they'll haul everything with. And I'm like, damn, like not only is it a lot of equipment, but it's actually pretty doable. You know, like when you can create a mobile setup that, you know, because they were doing it at the 8 and 9 store
Yeah.
in Little Haiti, right? Shout out to 8 and 9 with Naps in them. Like, I'm like, man, you know, that's actually pretty dope how they can assemble and disassemble this whole podcast with all the bottles, and they'll create a whole set. I would show up. I lived down the street when I was working with them, so I would, you know, make sure I would help them with the setup and breakdown. And that's when I started this podcast, the Noche podcast,
Right.
because I noticed that there wasn't a platform for the hip hop scene that we all came up on to talk about it.
Right.
Right. So and here I am almost 50 episodes later, like, and like people have also started their own platforms too. You know, the MIAO radios and the Orions and the Human Sushis, and like, bro, you know, man, like, I'm happy to see Miami hip hop, like just proclaiming themselves, you know, especially creating in this DIY age that we're in with internet media, you know. So like, you know, obviously, you know, you're doing like a radio show, and you actually have a radio station like 92.7, right? But these guys, like, you know, they'll hit the SoundClouds or whatever, or the Anchor.fm, and it's just cool to see everyone kind of graduating from little indie mixtapes where they'll print out 1,000 copies and hitting the sound clicks in the primitive internet to being like, nah, man, this is an actual brand. Like, they open up a LLC and get sponsors and stuff.
Exactly.
So, and that's some things too, man. Like, some of these artists, like myself, like, we create these platforms so that the listener can get to know us outside of the record, and they can get to know like the people that we rock with as a person, and that's a cool way to market yourself, you know.
Exactly. Content creation, man. If you're a content creator, whether you're an artist, it's a good way to get now your music on the platform, whether it's an intro, your beats, whatever the case may be, because all that goes back to publishing. Those are the things that people don't know that they can maximize off of, right? They think it's just about the sales. Sales have diminished over the years. And while streaming kind of hurts, it still helps out as well. And there's still multiple areas of revenue. The publishing side, which most artists get it wrong. They don't know how to set it up. I had to teach artists over the years of how to set it up right and then how to maximize their dollars from that. Because even by just having it, you still got to submit the record. Yeah. like the publishing companies don't know that you had a record. and sometimes they don't know where it got played. But you could manually do the submissions, especially every time you do a show. So, sorry, I know I steered it away, but it goes back to content creation and maximizing those dollars. Like, hopefully you're at a point where you're seeing how to make more money off of the podcast. You're doing it for love, but it's a business, and you still got to pay the lights, right?
Man, I this podcast, I'm gonna be real with you, bro. Like, I don't have no. It's not a flattering truth of mine, but like, bro, I haven't made any money from this podcast. I did it really just for it to exist, and for people to dig and find these stories, I would love to make money off of this. What? That'll be great, But like, man, I am still like a little ignorant on how to set up the publishing and how to set up this and that. I hollered at EFN. It's funny, man, like the DJI store in Wynwood, man, I'd be like, y'all be coming through, bro. You and EFN, shout out to the DJI store, because my time being there opened up these conversations by just being like, yo, what's up, bro? And y'all walk into the store and I'm there,
Yeah.
But like EFN had put me on to and everyone that wants to do a podcast out there and just not have it on your YouTube or your SoundCloud, you can download Anchor.fm, which is I have the app now, and you can that's how you get your podcasts on the Spotify's and the Apples, I believe, the Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
But no, man, I'm yet to get into the generating revenue side of things for this, for the podcast, which I would love to educate myself on, but yeah, I know.
Don't stress it. I didn't try to put you on the spot on that. I'm just trying to say, like,
cool.
Now you're saying you're 50 shows in. I think that's commendable, right? And you start off humbly. Like, it wasn't like you came in to try to make money. Those are the situations that fail, because then they're not really thinking of the content or the heart, to make it thrive. So, but once you get to a certain point, all right, how can I make this work to keep this going, right? Because life kicks in. You had to step away for a little while, it seems like. Damn, you still kicked in 50 shows in between.
Yeah, I think I don't have it in front of me, but I think this episode is like 48,
still
49, something like that.
It's a lot. So, you know what I mean? Like, you should look into that. You're that invested, right? So the reality is, whoever you're posting this to, they're making money off of you. So why shouldn't you take a share? Figure out a way to make that happen. And maybe it's not making money from them, but it's maybe you need to include your music in the podcast, right? Or whatever the case may be, and submit your publishing information, so on and so forth. Because you have Sound Exchange. There's different digital rights agencies that pay you out based on that.
Okay, duly noted. And mind you, I don't mind taking, like, bro, I can prop myself up and be like the prototype of what not to do early on, I don't mind being that guy, but it's true, bro. Yes, like, us artists should be able to generate revenue off of our art. It's not that you're doing it for the money, it's that you want to do what you love for a living. That's the difference,
Yep.
But there's one last thing that I wanted to pick your brain on before we get out of here. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, cool. Semp Rok, my man. Bro, one thing that not only myself, but other artists at our level of, like, getting your jumpstart on your career is, like, college shows, You've worked with that, correct? Am I mistaken by assuming that?
I mean, not on the national level.
Even if it's like state level, like regional,
So there's I'm trying to think. I mean, I try to get people in the past. I want to say it's NASCAM. Can't remember. It's been some time. So I'll tell you how you could get it if it still exists, right? Because I was doing this back in the early 2000s. I officially stopped doing publicity and I got out of marketing for music on the day to day, like in 2011.
Okay.
I became the behind the scenes guy, even beyond what I was already. Just because certain things had happened, I just was over it. Right. I'm still always involved. I still have my label, still have my distribution deals. But there was so all the colleges have the government associations, right? And they all have budgets to put on shows every year, throughout the college year. So there's an organization, I can't remember, it's like NASCAM or something like that, where you can meet with all those colleges and the reps for that then you can start building your tour around, right? But this is like the official way. This is not like some random promoter that's trying to string some things up. Not that that doesn't work, but it's usually how they do that business, right? Like it's going to be like, pay me $1,000 and I'll get you on these shows. The way I'm saying is like you're getting money from colleges to get put on. And it doesn't have to be a huge name. It's just the entertainment.
Because I've noticed that, and I agree. The college shows have featured artists that, bro, they're not popular, bro. They knew who to contact, and their music was quality enough, and I guess safe enough, if you want to use that word, for the college to book that artist.
Yep.
And they'll do the FAUs and the FIUs and the UMs and this and that, and like that information is not easily accessible. Like who do you contact? This and this and that. Which, by the way, shout out to Peter at UM because he be playing my music on WVUM for Transit City. So early mornings when every now and then I hear one of my songs, it's it makes the Starbucks that much better, bro.
But look, build relationships with the PDs, the stations, especially the college circuit's easier, right? The music directors.
You said PD. What is that?
Programming directors.
The programming director. Word.
Yeah, because the programming director is, depending on who has the music director, they'll be able to say what gets on rotation versus the radio show. So that's who I would usually hit up. I usually hit the music directors, programming directors to get these songs on rotation. Forget just the show that I'm trying to get on. I want this to be that when no one's manning the decks, this is some of the stuff that loops every day, right? And usually they're all connected with the Student Government Association. So who's the person I talk to about shows? Like that's the thing with this. I'm not knocking on the new generation, but like these people skills, like develop because by having that conversation, like genuinely, right? You've been building with people over time. People are willing to give you information, but build with them. If you're just trying to scam them just for a contact, people catch on to that too.
I remember I went to Radiate FM in FIU. Yeah. Bro, I'm talking about 2012. I just straight up walked up in there. Like I walked into FIU and I go, where's the radio station? To some guy. And he just pointed me up the stairs right there. And then I walk up there and I see it and I open the door and you feel your ears like hear the sound dampening right as you walk in there. And I see a guy to my left, and I go, what's up, man? And the guy's just eating a sandwich like, what's up, bro? And I go, who can I talk to about getting on here for an interview for a hip-hop, on the hip-hop show? And he goes, oh, you got to talk to whatever the guy's name was. Oh, you got to talk to Greg. And I go, who's Greg? And he goes, that guy. And I'm like, thanks.
Perfect.
And I was like, that was easy.
Yeah.
Like, man, this being a rapper is not that hard, And I pulled up on Greg, but the way that I pulled up on him was like, I had a book bag and I go, yo, I give him my elevator pitch, This is in 2011, 2012. I go, what's up, man? My name's Art Morera. I'm a hip hop artist from out here. And I have a mixtape that I'm trying to raise awareness of. Can I give you a copy of this and a shirt? And he goes, what's up, man? I'm Greg. he bypassed that whole salesman-y approach that I had, and he was just like, bro, what's up? Let's just chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and surprisingly so, that's how people are. Like same thing with my man's Peter. I was put on to Peter by someone gave me his email, and I just hit him with the email with the formalities, and he's like, yeah, send me some music. Come to find out, he liked the majority of the songs that I sent him. Really
dope.
And bro, yeah, man, like people skills and knowing how to approach and not being what's the word I want to use? Like not being media trained, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, I guess I'll use that term, you know?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's the media train could also come to your benefit, but not in that approach, right? You always want to come genuine with people.
Yeah. Do you want to be genuine? You just want to be cool, man.
Yeah.
You know. And bro, to my surprise, that actually got a lot more done than seeing how some people they almost like they'll pull up like six of his homies all wearing the same shirt. It's like the rapper uniform, you know, like
Yeah.
the record label black tee with the white print, you know, of the label's logo. Like, what's up, dog? We're here to promote the mixtape. And it's like, bro, I see that. And it's like, yo, you're scaring them into you're trying to 50 Cent everybody, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, bro, you know, man, like I'm like getting into the college circuit. I feel like is a great way to, you know, get your touring off the ground. And I don't really, I'm no offense to obviously you're a publicist, but I don't think that an artist needs to go through a publicist to do that. Even though publicists make it so much easier to tap into that circuit.
Yeah,
you know?
but at the end of the day, a publicist is to get you press, and then you have booking people. What worked for me is that I had a multitude of things. I had the DJ, so I was servicing DJs. I was doing the press. I was doing some of the marketing. If I needed to like make some quick edits to your cover, I could do that shit. Like it was all these additional services, right? I had relationships on the marketing end, and what I would do is I would do placements beyond. This was when MySpace was popping. So shout out to Roslyn. I was able to secure placements on the homepage of MySpace for these underground artists, and it was like that one record playing, whatever the case may be. Like that, it was a little. It wasn't press for a publication. It was just an outlet, right? So it's having that vision to do a little more than just that role. But really, the role of a publicist is to manage your press. We talked about the media training. Like part of as a publicist is training someone of how to do interviews, right? Like because the reality is some of these artists don't really know how to do interviews, or they'll go off topic on something that they probably shouldn't. And then now what should have been an interview about your music ends up being about a beef you had, and you just derailed your whole shit like that. Just throw that interview in the garbage, and it might even like affect you.
They probably think about doing that because they know that controversy sells, and they want to be this you know, this artist that is always wrapped up in the you know, some type of issue because it's exciting to hear these stories.
Yeah,
you know,
but if you want to advertise, if you're in this drama and you want to advertise that, then that becomes you, right. And if that's all you want to be known for, then knock yourself out. Otherwise, it's a gimmick. If that's the ploy, and you're doing a disservice to your music as well, right? So you could still talk about something meaningful. You know what I mean? Besides beef. You know what I mean? Like that shit gets played out real quick.
I hear you, man. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, beef stories are exciting, but after a while,
Legit beef, like
no, like rap beef. I'm talking
yeah.
about.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like with some of this rap beef that you hear is like, was that really beef? Because he called my baby mama. Fuck out of here.
Because some radio hosts, some radio interviews, the host tries to get that clickbait info out of the artist.
But that's what I'm saying.
You
Though.
know?
That's what I'm saying. And you got to know how to derail that, like without being like a baby.
Yeah, but some ways that I've seen them derail it is being like, yeah, I'm not here to talk about that, bro. I just want to talk about my album. Like the Joe Budden interview on Hot 97. It's like, bro, did you ever see that interview? I'm not sure if you have, but like Joe Budden was trying to promote his album, The Rage in the Machine, and Ebro was like, oh, my bad, son. You don't want to talk about what you did to Peter Rosenberg. You want to talk about that snare that you did on that. Oh, and how you rhymed those words on that song. Oh, yeah, that was hot. No, we're not going to talk about that, Joe. And it's like, they made it mad, like super awkward, you know?
But that you're talking about an artist that's on a major level. I'm talking about an independent artist that's coming up. Really? That's the only thing people want to talk about. Like, I don't know if it's really going to help you out. Maybe. But tell me one artist that super underground artist that blew the fuck up because of that stupid ass interview that was talking about beef.
Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any because they were already established by the time I got around to them.
You know what I mean? And that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, but I've seen that early on, like with some artists. So that's where the media training comes into play. Once they've already made it, who gives a fuck, right? What I would tell an artist is I had this issue with tech. is that he would tell he would give one publication the full story of everything. That was when I wasn't even there to prep it, right? And then now all these interviews that I've already set up for him with other publications, they don't even want to put it out because some other publication leaked it right before, and it told 5 different stories. Like, because he sat there for an hour talking about every single little thing he was working on. I was like, nah. And I would try to also work with publications, and it wasn't to like tell them what to ask, but to guide them on that unique story. Because with the Immortal Technique, like, oh, how'd you come up with Dancing with the Devil? Bro, do your research. That's been done 1,000 times, right? Oh, how'd you get into hip hop? That's a low budget. Like, that's just a starting off thing, right? Like, this guy's already been, those stories have been told. So I'll tell him, hey, do you know he owned land in Peru? He cultivates, like, all the shit he talks about, he's about that. Like, he cultivates native products to redistribute within the country. Granted, he ships them out because you need to keep that sustained, right? Oh, I didn't know that. It's beyond hip hop, but that's part of who he is.
Yeah, like he tried to steer the interview on one specific lesser known story about Immortal Tech so that that interview is unique.
Yeah, I mean, because they could ask whatever they want, but I was like, I wanted to give them a tidbit that was going to make that story unique so that they could get more traction to their site. You know what I mean? Like, I knew it was going to work, and I knew the stories that he should be telling as well, right? But if you say every single little thing, man, like, come on, man. It goes back to strategy. And that's the part of the publicist that I say it's more than just getting the person there. It's,
you know, man, you do a good job, bro. Like you
I've been out of the game for a while though.
you seem to be very knowledgeable. Like, you never thought about getting back into the game, like maybe helping some artists out, like nowadays.
So I do have a company, Commonwealth, with Dave Gettle. He used to be part of Counterflow. He used to be part of Bobito's label as well. Fonlum Records back in the days. A group called oh my god, he's gonna laugh at me. I can't even remember anymore. Yeah, that group. And so we still put out music, but it's still not at that level. I was putting out records every week. So Armageddon, who used to be part of Terror Squad, we put out a couple of projects. I dropped Omniscience album, Social Work, my boy Pugs Adam out of Chicago. And then I have a lot of like random singles with independent artists, and this is where they gave me their feature records. Because these were artists that I represented over time, like as a publicist, and I was already done doing it. I was like, I don't want to take your money, but what we could do is this: give me your records, we'll do our deal, and I'll get them their placements. So I was doing that with no recoup, basically, and it worked. It worked more for the artist than it did for me because sales weren't always there, but I got them the press that they needed, at that given time. So I have records with Mos Def, Fat Joe, Nori, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, we were giving those out. Like, that was the formula, right? Give it to Hip Hop DX. Give it to Two Dope Boys. Rap is the only genre really that just is always giving away fucking music, man. So it did nothing for sales, but at least the artist got some press, and I was cool with it.
Yeah, like, you give away the music for free, but the way that you generate sales is from like shows, merch, and and publishing, right? And bro, influence. If an artist has influence, that'll monetize itself later or in different ways, So I feel you. Music is starting to just become more of an advertising tool for the likeness of the artist, Yeah.
So I do have a couple projects we're putting out. I'm just not heavily invested on the day-to-day. Like, I can't do the publicity. I have a team. I lean on the team. So we have this guy named Balmore and his brother as well. So they're called the Good Brothers. But it's more like soulful singing. We work with Tony Galvin as well. Even though he has his own projects, we were managing for some time, so we try to help him out with some of the beat placements. There's a young kid. That's the one I'm really going to spend some time with, him and Naps and Dreads. The kid's named Vic out of Boston. But I'm just not involved in the day-to-day. I'm not putting out albums. It's just these single projects, right? And letting the artists do their thing. Just utilize us as another outlet to their progression. So, for instance, you got an album coming out, I'll take a single. Utilize what I could do for that single and ride that little momentum or add on to it, right? We're just another promotional vehicle. Don't lean on me for your career, because the reality is I'm all over the place, man. And that's the last thing I want. Before, I used to spend too much time all over the place, and it just didn't benefit.
Yeah, instead of the whole project, they give you one song, so they give you like track 1, and then they ride that wave, and you're like, all right, Semp, here's track 2, and then before you know it, they just keep hitting you with like different songs off the same album, and it's like, yo, I see what you're doing, bro. Like, I told you one song, damn it. Like,
No, but this is the thing though. So legally, I would say don't even give me something that you're gonna come out with, right? So if you're gonna drop an album and I'm grabbing a record, I want that record that didn't make it, right? But that's still dope. It just didn't make it because just conceptually it just didn't fit. Because the thing is, if I grab that record that's from your album, Sony's gonna tell you can't put out that album because it has has the record that I put out. So legally, you can't. I can have both of them.
Oh,
So
I hear you.
that's why. Like,
So-
I'm just gonna give you presents with the DJs, whatever little press, whatever advertising that I do. I lean a lot more on advertising these days because that's what I do by trade now.
That's
Like,
dope.
I'm a director of an agency, and all I do is manage media buys. So it's like a $40 million portfolio that I had to wreck my brain about for clients outside of hip hop.
That's a dope PDF.
Yeah.
You know, you say, oh, this is what I do, bro. You just open this and you can see $40 million worth of generated success of you doing advertisings for artists and companies. And that could be overwhelming for somebody like in my position trying to inquire for like representation from someone like yourself, you know, and like they'll look at the success of that person and be like, damn, I don't know if I'm good enough for this person to take time out of his lucrative business to, throw me a bone or something, you know?
But don't look at it as throwing a bone, man. Just make yourself worth.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like-
not me specifically,
Yeah.
like artists that just haven't popped off yet, you know?
Yeah.
Yet.
Yet. That's the whole
You know?
thing, man. Everyone started somewhere. Eminem and Scam were just rolling around in the streets. They were homies. That's, you're stunned by it. They were homies, man. Scam was the one that was taking him to the stations to get introduced to the local hip hop scene because he was from Detroit. You know what I mean? Like, so you never know when things are going to pop off. And anybody that looks down on someone else like that, they forgot their roots, right? If they've gotten to a certain point. Granted, always come correct with somebody that's a little bit more established, because otherwise it would come off as you wasting their time if you don't have your things in order, right?
Or entitled.
Yeah.
You know? Like you'll come off like entitled, like you built all this and now I want to have access to all that.
Yeah, it doesn't
You know?
Yeah.
And they'll look at you like, fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I've seen that. Oh my God.
I mean, I
You
got
know?
that from older heads, though. You know what I mean? Like that entitlement. It's not even the younger generation or anything. Like people are just like that. People that have been in the game, and then they also feel that they're entitled to something. It's like, no.
Because I feel like the best way you could approach them is like you be doing your own thing, but provide value, bro.
Yeah.
You know, like what can you do for them more than what you want them to do for you? You know, it's like what is it I can really do for you that you're not already doing for yourself?
No.
You know, because some artists that I've reached out to try to like open up for them on tour or something, like I'd be like, yo, listen, man, I can offer these things aside from me just performing. How I can make it worthwhile for you is I can do X, Y, Z on the road with, like for y'all for the campaign or whatever. And they just turned around. This was some time ago. This isn't recent. They were like, yeah, that's cool, man, but nah, you just got to pay us.
Some people just want dough. That's fine. That's fine.
So you just
Maybe.
got to pay us, bro. Like, you're going to be an opener. We need this much money for however many shows you want. And I'll just be like, all right, well, thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can't get mad at that. I mean, it's the business. But that is a dope angle because you might provide that value. Like for me, I look for those opportunities when I could build with somebody. Usually I'm quick to pay out, but if someone could provide a service that we could both benefit from, fuck it. Grassroots, homie.
Hey, man.
You know what I mean? Like,
if it's a win-win and people like yourself are into that option instead of just straight up like someone paying out because they don't have a budget for that or whatever, that's great, man. More people should be like you know?
Yeah.
Like, people invested their limited money in other tools and resources, and they built themselves up in that department, and now they can offer that service as bartering, you know? And that's a legit thing too, man. But yeah, but money is hard to top money.
No, it's
You
hard
know?
to top money, but how do I put it? Some people like, all right, an artist might have a challenge with making money off their own records. I might have a deal where it's like, listen, give me these records, right? You're signing the bitch off. I don't always agree. I haven't really done that, but I'm just saying, like, if it's worth it, give me these records, it's work for hire, which I really suggest people never to do that, especially it's something that belongs to you. But some situations just call for it. I'll build you a website. You don't have $2,000? That's fine. Give me the record. I'm gonna build you a $2,000 website. You know what I mean? And at that point, it might be the best thing, for having. Like, I wasn't gonna do shit with this fucking record. Fuck pride, right? Like, there you go. And then I'll figure out how I'm gonna make my money off of that, right? Because I know how to do that. So everyone's a little bit different. That's it. You just got to figure out what you could value from that you can make money. That person can't do it, but it's worth it. It's an easy barter.
Yeah, like you knowing how to monetize some record is you can make money off of that on the back end. They don't need to know how you make money off of that property that you acquired.
Yeah.
All they get in exchange is what they wanted, which is the website.
Yeah.
Word. Hey man, shit, bro. If it's a win-win and people both consenting parties are cool with it, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, look, bro. We've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes, bro.
Cool.
You know, I feel like this was a very informative podcast, not only for myself. Hopefully, the listeners can pick up on these gems that you were dropping about.
We were all over the place.
Well, yes and no, because like marketing is a vast topic, bro. And I'm sure that we could have kept going and delving into other, rabbit holes of like how to market yourself in a certain way. But any last minute advice you want to give artists before we close out?
Man, just be yourself, really. I have nothing brand new to say. Just stay focused. Consistency.
Facts.
Consistency is key.
Facts.
Because and that applies not just to the music, but even to yourself. Like, for me, when I stepped away, I realized what it was doing to the value that I had, right? Granted, I build bonds with certain people so they don't forget that. But the new cats, nobody knows who the fuck I am now. Who cares? And that's why I put it on my Instagram. Who gives a fuck about what I did? It's what I'm doing right now, right? And these are the relationships I'm trying to build again, right? And that's all I care for. I don't care about the masses. I just want to build with the people that, that we see eye to eye, and we can just keep on growing.
2020, bro.
Yes, sir.
It's like we're a whole new decade, man. But man, like the truth in that, just be yourself and stay consistent. That's like, how much more simpler can it be? We can elaborate all we want, but if you just stay yourself and just don't quit and stay consistent, putting quality shit out, like eventually you'll build something, Like people used to try to tell me how, you should do this, you should do that. Like I hated that, bro. I always felt like people were just telling me to just not be me, And after a while I was like, you know what, man, let me just stop asking people for advice.
Advice is cool. You take what you think is gonna work for you, right? What's gonna apply to your lifestyle, what you could envision, right? Like, all right, that was a good. Like, I'll talk to people. Sorry, I'm trying to drag it further, but like, I'll talk to certain people, or I'll listen to a video of something that I already know about, but there might be this one little thing that I really didn't think about, and I'll flip it on how I could use it. The way they're telling me is not the way I want to apply it. It needs a little modification to how I can make it work, and that's it. I do that daily.
Yeah. I mean, soaking up information here and there and like taking things from here to like modify what you're doing is great. What I meant by like advice is like where someone sees that what you're doing isn't working yet, and they process that as being like, what you're doing isn't working because there's something wrong here.
Oh yeah, no.
So you should change this to how I believe. Bro, all it goes down to is my fucking uncle being like, why don't you talk to DJ Laz? And talk,
that's the area he grew up in.
And talk to Pitbull. Why don't you talk to Pitbull? I just saw El Pitbull, Exactly, bro. Oh, my God. How many times I've heard that. But, all right, guys, look. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Semp Rok, 92.7 Friday nights.
Yes, sir. 2 a.m.
2 a.m., right? You can hear some classic hip-hop, anything older than 2010. Holler at Semp if you have any questions on how y'all can build. And bro, Buena Gente is on all streaming platforms. Shout out to all the artists that are associated with that. Thanks for sticking around, guys. I know there's been a bit of a gap between my last podcast, but I'm a recording artist first, and I have a lot of songs pending in the folder. that I hope to be able to release soon so y'all can enjoy this dope music. But look, man, Art Morera, Medianoche Podcast, Semp Rok, my dog Morty's sleeping over there, and we out. Peace.
Peace.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast, 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 podcast.
Medianoche.
Podcast, 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 podcast.
Medianoche.
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 Podcast, podcast, podcast.